Okay, you can see here I've got the second wing up to the same point. I've got the landing gear block glued in. I've got the doublers just laying here with this the leg on top. I went ahead and routed out where my leg would go, and the center of that axle was where I had planned on it being on the other plane. And you can see on the outline here where I had traced for the wheel sitting right on that axle point. I had traced the wheel. Well, you can go back now with this in place and see where the wheel's actually going to touch. You can see it's in here. What we'll do is I'm going to end up cleaning all this out where that wheel will be, so it'll be a hole all the way through. So we'll have nice even sides and everything when we get with the finished model. But anyway, I'm going to start cleaning out this to allow that wheel to sit down into the wing. So as I get that done, I'll show you. But this is a wheel off of the built-up wing. You should be able to use either one when it comes down to it, because I'm going to have a little bit more scale-looking wheel when it comes down to the end. But this should allow us to get either one in the hole I'm going to make for this. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start working this wheel in, and you'll see the finished product of that. Okay, it's been a while since I worked with foam, but anyway, I built one like this in the past. What I did was I forgot I had not glued this in. It was just had a real tight fit. The best thing to do would be to take this and get it where you wanted, and like I always say, make sure everything trial fits, is to be able to remove this. It's just easier to get in here and clean this out to allow the gear to go in. And I only do a little bit at a time. What I'll end up doing is gluing this piece in. I sanded it off a little bit so the contour would match the back here, and so everything laid in line where I wanted that wheel out here. But I just went straight down, and it actually goes down and back a little bit. And what this allows, by leaving this undone, we can get back in here and actually, let's see if you can see. We can get back in here and actually see where that air cylinder is going, so I don't cut down too far this way and take any of my strength out. I'm actually cut down and to the rear, and it's usually just cleans out what is open here for the air cylinder to get through. But anyway, this piece is all done. The air cylinder goes all the way in. You can see my standoffs here. Once I get this glued in, it will be a little bit easier to work with, trying to not mess up my foam. But anyway, it all goes in there. That slides back into proper place, and the wheel will lay down in the proper place. It's best to get all this installed before you sheet this wing. This way you don't, there's no coming back and having trouble. I was able to take a Dremel tool and slowly work, and it's still pretty thick in places here. And if you can leave that, that's great. I was originally thinking about just cutting that whole hole out, but there's a good bit of foam left in there, and you want to leave what you can. So I have worked this out. It still looks good, and it'll make a nice cavity once we get this thing sheeted. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna glue my gear plate in. We want to make sure before we do any sheeting that we know exactly where this is going to go. So you may want to make a template, so you can come back here and just cut out this little area so we end up installing the gear. Because what we have to do is add the doublers, because this doubler will stick just above the sheeting here. It'll just barely stick above the sheeting when this is finished. So anyway, I'm going to get the other wing up to this point, and I'll be back and we'll go from there. Okay, here I am. I'm cleaning out this area here for the wheel, and I was wanting to show you real quick how I do this. You can use a regular Dremel tool, but I've got one on an angle. It just works better trying to get around for me. Anyway, I just take it, and I've got a regular sanding drum on there, and it actually sticks down just a little bit. But I just get it going easy, and you can just rub it back and forth, and it starts taking off, and it'll take that foam down. Now, if you really need to, you can take a lot off at a time, but when you get down there pretty thin, you can just ease it back and forth until you get it pretty well clean. And I've cleaned it out, and I got a pretty good circle there. Now you can see where I'm getting a little bit thin on the leading edge. You see where I'm getting a little bit thin on the linear, but that's okay. We're going to leave that there. But you can also take a just a regular, where'd I lay it? I had a little T-pin, and you take it and check your thickness and see if you're getting too thin. I mean, it really, I had thought about cleaning all this out anyway, but I've still got a little over a quarter inch, probably 3/8 of an inch thick right in here. But what we're looking for the wheel. We put it in here. We're looking for this. It'll either be straight or just a little bit of toe in, not very much. Anyway, it goes all the way in, and what we're looking for is for this is an 1/8 inch piece. When you lay down, that leg is almost flush with this. It just sticks up probably a 1/16. What I'm going to go ahead and do, I'm going to leave this the way it is, because we got our angle correct, we got the wheel laying in there, and when we get through and get it totally sheeted, if we have to, we can dig down closer to the top of the sheeting to clean out some more of that foam. But anyway, another thing I do after you can do pretty good going around in circles and cleaning this out, but I have a little sanding drum, and I take it and I use it, just rubbing it around and clean it up and make the walls a lot smoother than that single small Dremel tool do. But anyway, this is all in there. I'm able to get my gear all the way in. I've got both of them to the same point. If you work with foam wings before, it's up to you how you want to do your spars. You know, different people in the past have had different theories on what you need as far as a spar system. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and cut me a spar probably just outside the gear blocks on each side. I'll show you how I'm going to do that. And then I got a couple more ideas. We got to go ahead and run some channels for our aileron, for our servos and stuff like that. So I'm gonna figure out where I'm gonna go from here, and I'll show you what we're gonna do next. I'll be back in a minute.